We will not leave you behind. But I know many self-employed people are deeply anxious. You have not been forgotten. Workers can retain their job and be paid 80% of their salary. I am placing no limit on the amount of funding available. We all stand together. We are all in this together. Only those who have a tax return for 2019 will be able to apply.
I know very well that the Self-Employment Income Support Scheme has been extended, but the Prime Minister must know that that scheme simply doesn't apply to millions of self-employed people.
In March, the country went into a nationwide lockdown. The Chancellor announced schemes to support both the self-employed and those working for businesses. What the Chancellor failed to mention was that neither of those schemes would apply to over 3 million people working in our country. Hayley Smith is one of them.
I received no income for 5 whole months. I was becoming an assistant store manager, so it was a step up for me in my career. I've worked really hard to get promoted. It was a really exciting time. I was 2-3 days into my training, and then it was announced then that we were going to go into lockdown. When the Chancellor Rishi Sunak announced the furlough scheme, it was very clear that he'd support all workers, nobody would be left behind. We were all doing our bit staying home, and then I had a call from my store manager explaining that because of the dates there was no way they could pay me, and there was just nothing. Emotionally it was just destroying. It was a really stressful time, a really anxious time. I don't know how I got through it really. I get asked that question quite a lot in work. How did you get through it? And I don't know. A lot of it is down to my partner. He had to take the brunt of all my tears, my emotions, my anger. So yeah, pretty much he carried me for about 5 months. 5 months might seem like nothing, and I'm back in work now, and I'm so thankful to be back in work, but I'll be dealing with those 5 months for a long time, trying to get out of the debt that I was put into. I've had contact with all 3 Gloucestershire MPs, and they've all been equally as bad as each other. There's just no help. Rishi Sunak didn't give us furlough because he says we could be fraudsters. Steve Barclay referred to us as trade-offs, so for the furlough scheme to work, there had to be a trade-off, and that's what he's calling the 3 million people. Then don't have my tax then. If I was a fraud at the beginning, why should I have to pay for a scheme that I've been actively excluded from? Right from the beginning in March, I was part of the New Starter Justice because I thought that was my pigeonhole, that's where I fitted in. A few months later, I joined the Excluded group and realised just how many more people there were in my situation. So it doesn't just cover new starters, there's self-employed people, freelancers and small businesses. Rishi Sunak and the Conservatives, they talk about small businesses being the backbone of the country and build back better. Well, they can't because you're not helping them. 3 million people, size of Wales, have all been left out of government schemes. It's quite nice being part of that community because everyone's in the same position and we're all fighting for the same goal, and it's given us a voice. My eyes are open now to more of what is going on, you know, with the free school meals for children. You know, that all feeds back into the excluded because there's going to be 3 million families that are going to struggle over the winter. I'm calling for Rishi Sunak to acknowledge that he's left 3 million people out of any support, backdated pay for those of us that have been fortunate to return to work, but also to have a scheme now to fix it, and then for the rest of the people that are still living this nightmare, for him to help them.